Right away, we are messing things up.
Yay!
I decided to just end my stream before it even starts, as usual.
Man, that anxiety is really getting to you.
Told ya!
You're only teaching to us. Nobody else is here.
I don't do
Pay
things
no attention to
like
the
that.
chat behind the curtain.
I should pay more attention to what button I'm pressing on my freaking macro keyboard.
There it is.
It's pretty hard to. It's just a very small curtain.
Yes.
Rude.
Rude. Larger curtain than mine. Anyway.
I mean, the curtain is small, so it's easy to see the audience.
Oh.
I wasn't insulting you.
I thought you were making a... Never mind.
I don't do backhanded jokes. If I want to insult you, I am upfront about it.
Yay!
Woo!
Does everybody hear everything fine? Everything coming through
Yes, I
fine?
should check mine. Looks like my audio levels are fine. We're both at the same level.
Yay!
So I think Cherry's microphone is a little higher than Azure's, but whatever, you'll deal.
That's because I'm so high pitched.
Yes. So yes, I will be teaching. I should explain what's going on here and why I'm so nervous. I will be teaching my lovely guests and me being a guest on Cherry's stream about Dragon Quest.
Wow!
And, well, more specifically, I will be teaching them about. Let's go ahead and flip this. If it works, there we go.
This is the video game with the birds, right? The chocobos.
Yes, it is, and the cactuses and the giant tentacle monsters.
Yeah.
And the floating cat-like things that are all squishy.
Yeah.
With the pom-poms.
Okay, thank you. I drew a blank on that one.
Yeah.
You said floating cat-like things, and I was sitting there thinking sanguinies from Dragon Quest, and I was like, well, yeah. But we will be talking about Dragon Quest 1, and I'll be going through a very small history, because I will be honest, I am not confident in my abilities of going through the entire history.
You've already put way more effort into this slideshow than the rest of us whenever we do a slideshow, Oracle. I'm impressed.
What's that? I've already put more into it.
I thought I was putting a lot of effort into my next Star Wars slideshow. This is already more effort than I have. Like you've got transitions and shit. Look at this asshole. He's got access to PowerPoint.
Hey, if I'm gonna pay $100 a year, I'm going to friggin' get my money's worth.
Hi, recommended Dwayne. Welcome to the.
Having $100 a year to just spend.
Wow.
It used to be free when I was learning, and then I just kind of got used to Word and freaking PowerPoint and all that.
Yes, I remember those days when I was in college and I could get.
I know how to make
Photoshop for free.
I pay $500 a year for the whole Adobe suite.
Well, technically, I could get Photoshop for free too, but well, anyway,
Yeah.
I could. I haven't, but I could. But we will be learning about Dragon Quest NES as soon as I.
One day, if I get good enough a streamer, I could write off my Adobe stuff as a work expense. I'm begging you guys, help a girl out, help me reach 1,000 followers, and maybe we can get to that.
We're not trying to get to a certain sub tier. We're trying to get into a tax bracket.
Yeah.
that only works if you're doing Photoshop for video.
I technically do. I make my thumbnails for my videos and stuff like that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of a virtue joke, but it went over everybody's head.
Oh yeah, that's right. Virtue.
I don't know the virtue lore.
Virtue uses
used to. She doesn't do it now, but
used to edit videos in
for PowerPoint. That would be pretty goddamn impressive.
No, that would have been impressive. No, she used to.
She's going in frame by frame.
She did, basically, because
Yeah.
she used Adobe Photoshop to edit videos.
The great.
Yeah. I'm like, Virtue, please. Wow, that is impressive. I know, right? How the fuck did she do videos in Photoshop? What the fuck? I understand animating in Photoshop. I can't understand doing video editing in Photoshop.
I've made GIFs/GIFs in Photoshop, but
yeah, but not whole ass videos. You should
not whole ass
that.
video, not friggin' 2-minute video. A 20-second, 10-second GIF or GIF, whatever you want to call it. I just say
also,
both.
we're all super proud of our friend Virtue. Virtue made a bunch of got a bunch of views on her original video.
Yes, she made she had a new song and a new video. It was very good.
Yeah.
If a proper streamer and friend would actually post it right now, but they're dumb and don't want to mess up their system that they got going on right now. So, Kaleidoscope, Virtue, YouTube, check it out. Anyway.
Yeah.
Prayers and duct tape. That's what's holding Orgo's rig together.
Yes. It's actually Anyway. What is going on? Here we go. So, I decided to compile a few things as far as like some facts that about the Dragon Quest series in general. I should have done these one at a time, but I decided, hey, why not just throw them all on the page at once?
Woo!
It was obviously inspired by Ultima, Wizardry, and Might and Magic. It was friend Yuji Horii who wrote the series. He visited America for
Mark.
a short amount of, not a short amount of time. I think he did some schooling in America, and while he was here, he started getting into like D&D, Ultima, Wizardry, all of that.
A lot of people in Japan come over to Massachusetts to school. This is a true facts. Which one do they go to? Is it Green or Yale? I don't know.
I don't know.
Brown.
I didn't know that dragon slaying was a big thing in Massachusetts.
Yeah, dragon slaying is really big over here in Massachusetts.
Yeah. We have a lot. We have a lot of wyverns flying around. You'll see that in a week.
Yeah, that's why we sometimes throw tea into the harbor to get rid of the wyverns. Okay.
But essentially, him getting into D&D and all that, he decided to bring that concept to Japan, but wanted to simplify it more for a broader audience, like the common people, like... Yeah, I don't know how else to explain it. He wanted to simplify it more for a more broader audience.
It's much more difficult to get people into a role-playing system where you have to do math.
Yeah.
How do I do 1 + 1?
Whereas Dragon Quest, it was basically, all right, my strength is 16, his defense is 8, so it's gonna do any damage between 8 and 12. So, but took 3 years to reach stateside. The original Dragon Quest was actually never released in Europe, which
wow.
I don't believe. I'm trying to remember. I think Dragon Quest 8 was the first Dragon Quest game to make it into Europe.
Wow, we had Dragon Quest longer than the people in Europe, but then again, we're America. We tend to like to have things that they can't have.
Yeah, and Japan, trust me, Japan has a lot more than we do.
Mm-hmm. They got us back with the Yu-Gi-Oh! Tag Force releases.
Mm-hmm.
We've gotten maybe half the Dragon Quest releases in.
I'm not talking about Japan. I'm talking about Europe. We like to have things that Europe can't have.
Oh yeah, we're crushing Europe as far as that goes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Dragon Quest was a trope codifier for several RPG truisms, including the metal slimes and But Thou Must, which is one of my favorite.
Oh, sorry to interject, but you want to know what's absolutely funny is that I think Australia probably has the least amount of translation stuff available to them, and they're like right next to Japan.
I wouldn't say they're right next to Japan.
They don't. They're like just below them.
No, that would be like saying Brazil is right next to us.
In order to get to the civilized parts of Australia, you have to go through the outback, and that's a very treacherous journey.
I have to look up the mileage on that. No, I'll screw up my system.
Don't do it. Go back to metal slimes.
But yeah, metal slimes. The trope of that pretty much came from Dragon Quest, where it's basically the enemy that is really difficult to kill that yields a high amount of experience points. You see that in just about every single RPG nowadays. But Thou Must, where basically is a looping dialogue tree that basically you have to answer a certain question correctly, or else it just goes back and asks you again.
Say you love Pokemon, or you're not allowed to continue the game.
Exactly.
I hate Pokemon. You ruined my life.
But Thou Must was what was a very hysterical time when I was younger. Because you would just sit there and, well, I'll explain it later when we get to it, actually. And it was called Dragon Warrior in the U.S.
Warrior!
Oh,
A name-
I wish I had known that in 2002. I could have sued them because I was, as a 10-year-old kid, Dragon Warrior was the name of a little like fantasy thing that I had created.
Well, they no longer have. I don't know if they have the rights for Dragon Warrior or not. I would have to actually look that up.
So what you're saying is my time has come.
Yes, your time has come.
Check to see if Dragon Warrior is copywritten by anybody.
Well,
Excuse me.
in terms of copywriting, you can't really copyright two words that are common together. So, like, the most you could do is probably trademark it
That's
as
what
like
I meant, yes.
trademark it as a title for something. But you'd probably still have to have like a subtitle or something to it because it's that common of a thing.
Dragon Warrior, Azure's version.
Mm-hmm.
The secret is it's just a Dragon Ball ripoff. Which means it kind of works because this series has art by Akira Toriyama.
Yeah.
Yes, it does. We'll get into that in a bit too. But let's continue on. Flip, the main players.
Flip.
I don't know why I have this as just a normal screen, but hey, the main players. Let's go continue on. That is good old Yuji Horii right there. Yuji.
Yuji
I'm pretty sure it's
Horii.
Yuji.
Oh. I thought this was playable characters.
No, this is basically the three. I'll get into all that. I was just doing a little background to the
Akira
Dragon
Toriyama's
Quest.
artwork was really different in the 70s.
Wow. It's so lifelike. Wow.
He is basically the creator of Dragon Quest. I touched on him already. We can go through. He got his start with going into a video game programming contest with Enix with a game called Love Match Tennis, which a proper person who was doing research would have actually looked that up and see how the game played, but they didn't.
That's funny.
That sounds like something that's still around.
Love Match Tennis?
I feel like I've seen like a modern version of that.
Hang on, let me look it up. Love Match Tennis. Game.
lot of fantasy, a lot of romance books.
That might
Let's
be
see.
what it is. He was a writer before. Well, he's still a writer.
Love Match Tennis is a basic tennis simulation game released in 1983 for the NEC PCs dash. Because that's his,
So-
okay.
so he made
for all of you
Pong.
guys, back in the day, computers were all different from one another. And in order to do certain things, you needed a certain computer. Until one day, people all went, hey, what if we all use the same computer? And that blew everyone's mind.
Yes.
And then we got the Macintoshes.
Yes, and then Bill Gates came out and said, no, everybody needs to use my computer.
Mm-hmm.
And then the government put a stop to that.
Except not really.
Yeah, except not really. He still pretty much owns everything.
Mhm.
Yuji Horii has also created the Portopia serial murder case, and I know I butchered that first word, which essentially inspired Hideo Kojima to get into game design, which we all know where that led. Metal Gear. Anyway.
Metal Gear?
And
Yes.
fetuses.
and fetuses, apparently.
Oh.
He also had a hand in creating Chrono Trigger.
I have that game. I just haven't played it. It's on my Steam.
Well, somebody
I
else
haven't played
had.
that game, but I do have the Dragon Ball Z movie where the main character is based off of the character from Chrono Trigger.
Yes. Speaking of which, and before I hit this slide, I just want to point out that I had a nice little joke coming up that was sadly ruined by the untimely death of somebody.
I can't believe that he was so inconsiderate to you.
Yes,
I can't believe Akira
this
Toriyama was so inconsiderate.
asshole had to
and
go and
died
ruin my
before.
bad joke. Somebody's gonna take that totally out of context. They're just gonna take this asshole and then just cut it right there.
Yeah. I can't believe he just went up and died right before our
But
You know what? I think we're cursed. Haven't you noticed that like weird stuff like this seems to always happen right before we do something? Like that time we predicted Inupara.
Oh God. So
I
what
don't
you're
know
saying
if
is,
Yeah.
I need to talk about George Lucas because then he'll die and we'll finally get the theatrical versions of the original movies released.
Azure, we shouldn't wish death upon anyone.
But no.
I'm not wishing for death. I'm wishing for the theatrical cut of the original movies.
A brain,
Alright,
a
then,
brain
that's
hemorrhage. That's pretty much all he's wishing for.
Okay.
But Akira Toriyama, he is responsible for the monster designs within Dragon Quest, which is probably his second most popular known franchise.
I thought it was a Raleigh.
I thought it was, I would say third probably.
Third, really?
Mhm.
You guys are underestimating how big.
Raleigh is probably more.
You guys are underestimating how big Dragon Quest
It's
is in
because
Japan.
it's because Dr. Slump isn't popular here. It is
Yeah.
massively popular in Japan.
Yeah. Massive.
does it-
Raleigh is massively popular. Dr. Slump and and Dragon Ball. I'd say Dragon Quest and Dr. Slump are probably equally as popular.
I was gonna say,
in
does
Japan.
Dr. Slump have holidays that people are allowed to take off of school and work for release dates? Release dates. Goodness gracious. But yeah, I was gonna go over things. Dr. Slump made a Star Wars parody called Mysterious Rainjack.
Dragon Ball in general is just a Star Wars reference. And everything is a JoJo reference.
Designed the art for other games like Chrono Trigger and Blue Dragon, and he has never done anything else of note.
That's it. That's all he's done. He's not made anything else.
Is all I
That's-
wanted to say, and now he's gone, so we have to acknowledge Dragon Quest or Dragon War. Good God, Dragon Ball! My God, I gotta acknowledge it if I can remember what the hell it's called.
Dragon Warrior was my thing.
But yes, Akira Toriyama, as we all know, who was passed earlier this month, he was the creator of Dragon Ball, which was a massively popular series, which has touched the hearts of millions across the globe, and everybody can get into it equally, no matter who you are, what you are. You all turned in for the next time on Dragon Ball Z. Anyway.
Yeah, I feel bad for the kids. I feel bad for the kids who have to grow up today and not know the joy that was coming home from school and watching Toonami and seeing 2 new episodes of Dragon Ball Z every day.
Mm-hmm.
I just
you
know
know,
from Dragon
and I don't
Quest.
know if it was in. There's a bunch of Hispanic countries that just love Dragon Ball. Apparently,
Yes.
one of them.
Yeah.
Apparently, one of them had they were screening the movie illegally or something.
Oh, what
in
it was is,
remembrance.
it was the finale to Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah,
It was actually really cool because
yeah. I'm like, that's so cool.
Orgo, the finale to Dragon, the last arc in Dragon Ball Super was this tournament with basically Earth's existence on the line. So as the final fight's going on, everyone is cheering. It's almost like we're actually there. It's we are cheering for Goku because it's he's actually going to save us.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't every finale of Dragon Ball like the fate of the world is in
Not in the
Turmoil.
extent
Not
that
until
it was in
Dragon Ball Z.
Okay.
Yeah. But it was also not to the extent for this, because this was the whole universe was going to get wiped out if
Okay.
they
Yeah.
didn't win. The whole dimension, so to speak,
But-
because
Because
they were
we already blew up Earth at the end of Dragon Ball Z, so you have to go higher.
But yes, Akira Toriyama, he will be missed. Very much so. I don't know how.
Godspeed.
I don't know how the Dragon Quest series will move on with this character designs, but hopefully they don't change much.
I have a feeling they've probably had some backup people ready
Yeah,
to
they
go
do.
for a while.
There's been plenty of people working underneath him in Dragon
Mhm.
Quest since the beginning. So
But I mean, it's still, it's you're never going to
Yeah.
be able to replace that style of art.
no,
It is just too unique.
often
True.
duplicated, never. What is it? Often duplicated,
Although we
never
may get a
replicated, or something like
renaissance
that.
in art styles these days. I've been noticing that I feel like more people are developing different art styles again in like anime and manga and stuff. And you want to know what's all counted? It's noses, guys. People are learning to draw noses again. It's amazing.
I
more
worked
just a single line.
when I worked at a video rental place. My boss at the time. This was ages ago. Obviously, video rental. It's ages ago. But my boss at the time said he hated anime because none of the characters had noses. And this was probably 98, 99, so it was peak Dragon Ball. When Dragon Ball was like fucking everywhere.
Literally, only Krillin didn't have a nose in that show.
Yeah, literally only him.
That was canon that he didn't have
That
a
was a
nose.
joke.
Like,
And he
That
also-
was brought up all the time.
He wins a fight because he doesn't have a nose.
You just have a nose.
And he also said every single anime looks the same.
That was a lie back
Yeah.
then. Back
Cut out for me.
then.
Well,
Everyone
That
back
was
cut
not
Am I
the
dying?
90s
I'm dying.
anime did not look all the same.
No, they did not.
No.
Not only did they not, but unfortunately,
Oh.
who'd we
There
lose? There we
we
go.
go.
Unfortunately, I was a 18, 19-year-old dumb kid who didn't have the nerve to call him out on it. So, not that I knew a lot about anime at the time, but we can go on from Akira Toriyama to here we go. The composer Koichi Sugiyama, who
Kochi.
let's move on.
Did he do something?
Uh,
Has his reputation soured?
Would you like to know?
No.
Okay.
I have a.
I'll
Is
look
it?
it up.
Will it get
Okay.
us? Will
I
it get
think-
us in trouble?
It
with
won't
the
get us in
rating
trouble.
system?
No, it
Wasn't
won't get
this
us in
something
trouble.
that came up
Alright.
recently?
Kinda. All right.
I feel like people have talked about this in the past.
All right.
All
I'll
right. What
bring
does he
him back.
do? What did he do?
It was essential. He. What?
Hang
You
on.
remember now?
I went to Google, I typed in Dragon Quest composer, and there's some interesting choices for the autofill.
Oh.
Pray tell, read some.
What
What
did
are
he
some
do?
of the autofill choices?
Yeah, give me a second to type it back up.
Okay.
Okay, so it goes Dragon Quest composer racist, Dragon Quest
Oh.
composer controversy, Dragon Quest composer hates America,
Oh.
Dragon Quest composer denial.
Oh.
That's,
All right.
That's all there is.
Cat's
Ah.
out of the bag. He was a known Japanese nationalist
Ah.
who saw Japanese people essentially as above everybody else
Ah.
and denied every single
know what?
atrocity.
You know what I have to say to this?
What?
Honestly, not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
And has denied every single atrocity that the Japanese people have ever been a part of, including the Holocaust.
Mm. Mm.
So-
Well, at least he didn't do anything that could get you arrested.
No,
Yeah.
actually, he was very much praised by the Japanese government. So,
I wonder why.
I wonder why.
I suppose I will.
Honestly, not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Before
you know what? This, I guess, God, this is the life that we've come to. I'll take racist over the other things he could be.
Real quick, he was already unlike Hori and Toriyama, he was already a very well-established composer before getting into video games, and then basically got into Dragon Quest, and then he basically exploded from there. So he's the only one who people knew before. What happened?
My Discord is being stupid again. It's doing that thing where like it keeps cutting out on me.
Discord be dumb.
Discord be
guys,
dumb.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Can you hear us?
Now I can. I couldn't hear you.
Well, hopefully it survives. You there?
It's Sugiyama. He's haunting me.
Azure, you need to.
He is dead. Sugiyama is dead, so hey, he could be. Alright. So what about the first game? You know, the thing that we're actually supposed to be talking about here.
Is it very basic?
It is very primitive.
Aha!
It is only one-on-one encounters. There's only 4 base stats with strength, agility, HP, and MP. There wasn't even a defense stat.
Wow.
There are 4 item slots with weapons, armors, and shield. It utilized a password system as opposed to a save system, at least in Japan only. And probably the kicker is every single sprite was forward-facing. So there was no actual left, right, and north-facing sprites.
Wow.
All facing down. Cherri sounds like she couldn't give 2 craps.
That's an old game.
It is a very old game, yes.
I remember the days when you had to put in a password to access a level because there was no save function.
Yes, or put in a password to skip by a bunch of levels you can't beat. That's the plus side to a password system. But then, I think it was Legend of Zelda that was the first one that had a battery backup. And then Dragon Quest came out in America after Legend of Zelda, but before Legend of Zelda in Japan, so... You may be wondering if it's so primitive... Hello?
Yeah, it's still being stupid. It seems to really set off whenever I talk, so maybe I should just be quiet.
Azure, you should shut everything off. Turn it on.
Like right now, I can't hear you guys.
Would you like to reboot your Discord computer real quick to see if that fixes it?
I'm gonna give it a reboot. I'll be back.
Alrighty. We will hold off on this real quick. I'm gonna laugh. Well, I'm not gonna laugh, but it'd be pretty funny if his computer just exploded as he's trying to load it back on. See, I keep pulling things down, and now I can't find something. What happened to my frickin' there? Where is it? There we go. But I will. Why don't I go into the next screen just because it's more text here. What made it so popular? It was the first turn-based JRPG. I actually thought it was the first.
Would you say that if it's the first turn-based JRPG, would you say that means that this is the game that defined the genre JRPG?
Yes. Yes, that is pretty much what Dragon Quest is. I don't know how Final Fantasy got like the friggin' reputation of, oh, it's the most revolutionary RPG of all time. Dragon Quest did everything Final Fantasy has done years before Final Fantasy had done it.
It's because that one took off more, I assuming.
In America.
Yeah.
Not in Japan, but in America it did, absolutely.
In America. Yeah.
Yeah, Final Fantasy became America's bread and butter, whereas Dragon Quest is still Japan's.
Yes.
So, not saying Final Fantasy isn't popular in Japan. It's immensely popular.
It's just not as popular as you think, because supposedly there's already articles out about the drop. So you see, I'm getting annoyed with people when they talk about the drop in sales in video games. When I'm like, dude, all of the video game sales are going to come from the first part of when it's out. It's like who the fuck cares that things like Hogwarts Legacy is half off right now? And I'm like, everybody who's wanted to play Hogwarts Legacy has already paid for it. So who cares if it's half price off a year after it came out?
People are trying to use that as an excuse to call it bad or a failure?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Which one are we talking about? 16?
Yeah,
or just
but
in general?
But like it's 16, everything in general, like in games in general. This is what I mean. Like, dude, who cares if 16 had like a significant drop of pay the next couple of weeks after it got out? It still sold a fucking ton of copies.
The best Final Fantasy, not including MMOs, since 12. So
yeah. So I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? And Nomura said, he's like, it's like this is just Square Enix idea of what succeeded. This is doing pretty well. Nomura is the realistic guy.
Think how insane that comment is when you look at Nomura's writing. Nomura's writing, by the way.
Yeah, Nomura. Oh, Nomura.
He likes to go places in his stories.
Oh boy. Yeah. For him with 7, he's like, I'm fine with this.
I read a review of 7 that said one of the cons of 7 is just how convoluted it became with the time travel. And I'm sitting there thinking, in a Nomura game? No fucking way!
What's the dog doing? I don't know. I don't know what the dog doing.
What the Orgo is doing. Orgo is doing great. He's very nervous and a little tipsy. So let's see if we can continue this thing.
Anyway, the dog doing is I'm learning stuff. I'm in class right now.
Orgo.
My audio is so loud. Oh boy. All right.
Oh boy.
Turn down the audio. Probably because it doesn't have music playing in the background. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
And their audio. Oh, there it is. Okay. Sorry about the auto beat. I switched from hers and yours and I got blasted. Yeah, I keep my audio loud because I know sometimes ads like to run really loud, so I don't want people freaking turning up me and then all of a sudden an ad pops on and fucking they just get deaf. I apologize.
I'm always deaf.
I've also been screaming because, like I said, I'm tipsy.
Just a little bit tipsy.
Ad jump scare, Ad jump scare, exactly.
And tonight I'm a fight.
But essentially, Dragon Quest became popular just simply due to its soundtrack, its sense of adventure, the monster designs. The fact that it was free in America probably helped it in the West as well.
Maybe I missed it. When did the first one come out? Like
in Japan, 86. In America, 89.
Okay. Just trying to compare it to when Dragon Ball was airing.
I wasn't born yet.
Oh,
neither was I.
Oh, you frickin' youngins! I got my free copy of Dragon Quest. That's how old I am. If you owned a Nintendo Power, they basically gave you a copy of Dragon Quest.
Nintendo Power. It
You
used to be
youngins.
cool, and then it used to be cool, and then it just became ads.
Even Bane is calling you youngins.
Hey! I can't believe they gave you a game in Nintendo Power.
Children.
The most I got was Pokemon cards, and a list for and a walkthrough of how to play Fire Emblem.
Nintendo Power gave video games out because they didn't think Dragon Quest would sell, or Dragon Warrior would sell in America. So, they gave it away. They also included in the Dragon Warrior package, they actually included a strategy guide, which told you everywhere to go specifically in the game at what level you should be at.
I miss strategy guides in Nintendo Power. They used to give you glimpses of those, no. but then Nintendo Power became just reviews.
It wasn't Nintendo Power that did it though. It was the game publisher that put them into the boxes with the games. So they were free strategy guides, which defeated the purpose of having the game because it took away the sense of adventure because it told you exactly where to go.
Adventure!
They really didn't think the game would work. Well, to be fair, Dragon Warrior did not catch on in America.
It did not.
Like two did not do well, 3 did not do well, 4 did not do well. We didn't get 5 or 6. 7 did not do well, and it wasn't until 8.
Yeah, I like that one. I played that one. I got it for $8 at Toys R Us.
Yeah, where 8 sold decently simply because it came with a demo for Final Fantasy 12.
I did. It came with the demo, even though the 12 had been out for a long time. And I go, ow! Got it.
Anyways, moving on from this area. And the curtains flow for the lore of Dragon Quest. So now we're finally going to get to talk about the actual game.
Huzzah!
Huzzah! We had basically... Oh god, I love that photo. Essentially, the story is... A long time ago, a legendary hero by the name of Erdrick defeated the evil of the land of Alefgard with the Ball of Light.
Ooh.
However, peace was short-lived because of the most indifferent villain I've ever seen in my life. Seriously, look at that face.
That is a man who was just there.
I feel so bad for him. He's blue. He means he's not getting enough circulation. We need to help him.
The Dragon Lord is tired of your shit. Just complete indifference. I love that sprite. When it's shrunk down, you don't tell. It actually looks more like his collar is his mouth. And like the blue parts going up are his eyes. Like it's hard to explain, but when it's shrunk down, he looks more like a dragonish type person as opposed to
menacing.
Yeah, a little bit more menacing. I mean, as menacing as you can be in an 8-bit sprite, but
I kind of see it.
Yeah, it's
by blurring my eyes.
Yeah, you have to really...
I squint real hard.
Me blowing it up like that did not help. Now you see him in all his indifference.
Indifference!
Anyways, after the Dragon Lord stole the Ball of Light... Oh, that Ball of Light... Excuse me. Erdrick ran off to fight him, but he never returned from that fight.
Wow.
What an asshole.
Decades of Dragon Lord's destruction happened all throughout Alefgard, and Erdrick is nowhere to be seen. And then finally, Dragon Lord apparently had enough and began attacking the Kingdom of Tentacle and destroyed a neighboring town of Demdara.
So wait, he was just waiting for the hero to show up for thousands of years to have a battle with him?
It wasn't thousands of years.
Well, I guess he's not showing up, so he kidnaps the princess instead.
It wasn't thousands of years. It was decades. I don't think the exact time frame is ever told. It was long enough for at least one generation to go by. But I don't know exactly how long.
So it was like 50 years have gone by, and the guy still has not showed up for our play date. I'm going to go kidnap this princess instead.
Well, he was causing destruction
get a new play date.
Threatening, but people, I'm going to guess they stopped taking him seriously, so he decided to make a impact, where he actually
maybe you'll take this seriously. Bam! Amber Alert.
Where he finally stole. This is actually where he got the Ball of Light. Maybe. All right, that's probably the reason why. See, I knew I was going to screw up the lore here. He hadn't stolen the Ball of Light yet. When he attacked Tentacle, that's when he stole it. So more than likely he wasn't just going all out because of that Ball of Light, which could potentially destroy him. After he had stolen the Ball of Light, he also kidnapped Princess Gwaelin, which basically put the king into a corner, and he kind of had no choice now but to try to send his soldiers out to try to fight the Dragon Lords, rescue the princess, and all of that.
You, random people, I need you to go save the princess.
And many soldiers were sent out. Draggy poo, I forgot I wrote that. Many soldiers were sent out to try to fight the Dragon Lord. None of them returned. until one day a soldier is finally summoned, the king's last resort. He finds a descendant of the legendary Erdrick and asks him to fight the Dragon Lord and save his daughter.
Son, grandson.
They don't. He is wearing tights. They are the same color as his shirt. Don't ask why.
I see where he got the idea for saying.
Definitely, you can definitely tell it's a Akira Toriyama design because
yes, it is.
It looks like he's wearing a Speedo.
They don't say specifically, but I think like theorists rank somewhere between grandson, great grandson, and great great grandson.
Okay.
So if I had to guess, somewhere between 100 and 200 years.
Oh, okay.
Had passed. So, but he sends him out to defeat the Dragon Lord and the thing. And on his adventures, he finds a cave that has a crest, or the grave, not the grave, what is it?
Oh my god, it's called Pokemon!
Tablet. What Pokemon?
That weird Pokemon, Sigilyph or whatever.
Oh, Sigilyph.
Mm-hmm.
But
that
he goes into a cave aptly named Erdrick's Cave, because of course it is, and finds a tablet. And on said tablet, I don't have it on here, but it reads, I am Erdrick, for thou art my descendant. 3 items are needed to reach the Isle of the Dragons, which is south of Tentacle. I gathered these items and reached the isle, and there defeated a creature of great evil. Now I have entrusted these 3 items to 3 worthy keepers. Their descendants will protect the items until thy quest leads thee to seek them out. When a new evil arises, find these items, then fight.
So that's where 4 party people came from. Got it.
That's where the 3 items he needs to find. This game is actually a single guy. You never get any other.
I know it's single guy, but this is just where they came with the idea for having 4 people later on.
But those are the 3 items right there. We have the Staff of Rain, the Stones of Sunlight, and Erdrick's token.
Oh my god, it's Sigilyph again.
You're gonna see that photo. You're gonna see that symbol a lot in Dragon Quest.
I can't believe Dragon Quest predicted a Pokemon.
But it looks like a bird. Yet. It's not a dragon.
Semantics. Oh, by the way, the bird does actually play into it. I'll get into that on a later date.
It's not a dragon.
I'll get into it on a later date. There's a god and she's shaped like a bird. Leave it.
It's called. Why isn't it called Bird Quest then?
Dragon Quest 2 is gonna blow your mind because I'm pretty sure in Dragon Quest 2 there's literally 1 dragon.
Is it called Dragon Quest because the birds are the dragons? They just look like birds, not dragons.
They do have wyverns and chimeras, which are bird-like dragons. Type in Dragon Quest Chimera. And you'll see what I mean. A smart person would have put it on the slideshow, on the PowerPoint, to show you what they look like.
Oh.
Then again, I didn't think I'd be arguing about birds versus dragons in Dragon Quest, so...
Did you know that dinosaurs were probably birds?
Yes. Believe it or not, I did know that.
Looney Tune. It looks like an evil Woody Woodpecker.
I love that design. That might be my favorite monster design in the entire series. I love that design. I want to get it tattooed on my body now that Akira Toriyama is dead. Akira Toriyama. Akira. Jesus.
Wait, what was stopping you before?
Going out and getting a tattoo. Just going out.
I know, but why did his death implore you to do this?
I don't know, just because I love Dragon Quest friggin' designs so much.
I figured it's some kind of secret lore.
Argo, are you sure you can trust an American tattoo artist to give you a tattoo that looks like that?
He gave me a homunculus friggin' tattoo from Full Metal.
Alright, if you say so.
Of course, I don't know.
So, yeah, he's gonna come back a week later. It's he just gave me Woody Woodpecker.
Alright, next slide. So what's next after for the lore? The grind! Because there's absolutely no lore in the first Dragon Warrior game.
Oh.
Yeah, Dragon Warrior, the first 2 Dragon Warrior games, 2 not quite as much, but 1 is extremely primitive when it comes to the lore. You can realistically beat the game in about 45 minutes if you don't grind. With the grind, it takes about 7 hours for the original NES. But it's condensed a lot more if you play it on your cell phone, which I actually do recommend. It's very cheap, and you'll get a good couple hours enjoyment out of it if you know where you're going.
Yeah.
But essentially, it's a lot of grinding. So we'll talk about the world instead of lore. Those are basically all the locations, all the towns. We have We'll get into the towns in more detail, so we'll talk about the dungeons here. There's Erdrick's Cave, Mountain Cave, Swamp Cave, Galen's Grave, and Dragon Lord's Castle, where you'll be going through... Oh, Jesus. I am rambling at the moment. Jesus Christ. You got the Rain Shrine, the Magic Shrine, all the wonderful locations of Dragon Quest. As well as all the towns. Like I said, I'll get into the towns here in a minute. Actually, I think I get into everything here. I do. Okay. Wah! I'm hearing this, not understanding any of it, because I never played or owned a Dragon Quest game. I think Azure might be in the same boat as you, so...
No. I did buy Dragon Quest 13. I just never played it.
That's pretty good, since not even 12 is out.
Or maybe it was 11.
Okay, 11, yes. It would be 11, yes. I think at this point, just about everybody owns 11. Except for Bane
game.
here.
I just never bought it. I just never played it.
You should. 11 is actually one of the better ones.
If I still had it, I probably would. I probably sold it at some point to get money.
It's on Steam. It might be on sale right now, actually.
Might be on sale.
Because I think Square Enix has a big sale going on right now.
And it might be the better version of the game where it lets you choose your romantic partner.
It is the better version of the game where it lets you choose your romantic partner. That is not until about 80 hours into the game, mind. Okay.
And then you get to cry as one of your characters die, and then the credits roll, and you're like, that's it? That's the end? And then only for it to be, but wait, you can time travel and fix everything. And
yes.
I'm like, really?
And
really and truly?
To talk about that real quick, one of the most uncomfortable moments I've ever had in gaming happened when I streamed that game and decided to choose Veronica as the person I spend eternity with. I did the cutscene and I felt so...
I don't want any context.
Yeah,
okay.
It was so...
Well, what makes things worse is that she was normally aged until...
Yes.
Why did she was a twin! Why did they do that?
Yes. Spoilers, by the way.
Spoilers. Well, that's not really a spoiler. She tells you right away.
Yeah, but it's... You don't learn it until probably about 6 hours into the game.
She's the older twin, too.
She is the older twin, yes. She's also the only twin with personality. But anyway, the world of Dragon Quest. First we have... Well, first is the town of Tentacle, which I did not cover before I came here. Don't ask me why. So we'll go to the second town that you'll likely find, which is Galenholm, which is founded by the bard named Galen. Who would have thought that? And Galen is buried there with his harp, which will come in... I
can't believe Galen is dead.
Yeah, Galen died in the... I'll get into it a little later, but I'll talk about it now. He died during the attack of Damdara that we talked about recently.
Wow.
So, him and another guy, which I'll get into it later. We're going to talk about Damdara.
Maybe he should have had a better weapon than a harp.
Don't you know what bards fight with? They generally fight with their weapons.
They fight with vicious mockery.
Instruments.
Vicious mockery. I cast vicious mockery.
Yes, vicious mockery. They come at you with their bongos and hope to kill you with their off-tune
You're a short
singing.
little guy and nobody likes you with your itty bitty bit.
But the heart will be very important in the hero's quest. And then there's the mountain cave, which is down there in the corner, and nothing happens there. You literally could go through the entire game and never visit it. Especially in the NES version, because in the NES version, aside from a treasure chest that'll give you 100 gold, there is nothing of value in that cave.
Was it just like cut content?
It wasn't cut content. There was an item in the original game called the Fighter's Ring. It supposedly was supposed to increase your strength a little bit and make monsters run away from you. In reality, it was programmed to basically do nothing.
Yes.
This is here to do
early
nothing.
video games.
Yes. It wasn't until on the cell phones, again, I'll throw that up, and on the later releases, like the remake for the Super Nintendo and the Game Boy Color, it does in fact increase your strength. Doesn't make monsters run away. That happens naturally as you level up. So.
Wow.
Where's my arrow? There it is. And on the northeastern quadrant of the world, we have the Rain Shrine, where the sage in there has the Staff of Rain, and he's looking for an instrument called the Lyre of Ire. Which, what else is a lyre called?
I see that this universe functions on the law
Dang.
of puns.
I can't believe.
Oh, you ain't heard
believe
nothing yet.
I can't believe that it was such a liar.
Lyres are harps. Well, they're stringed instruments, I should say.
Harp.
In the original NES version, it was called the Silver Harp, and he tells you to go find the Silver Harp, so it's a little easier to figure out.
Did you drop the silver harp or the golden harp?
And of course,
Neither one?
You won't learn about that Galen is buried with his silver harp unless you actually talk to people in the game, which I do want to point out. This is something I discovered. I always, from what I remembered, thought the townspeople basically just spoke gibberish because of bad translations and they didn't give you hints or anything like that. This is entirely not the case. I've read the script for everything in this game, and if you talk to every single NPC in this game, you will figure out how to do everything in this game.
Wow.
They don't direct you, they don't point to in the direction you gotta go like a strategy guide, but they will say, hey, you can find an item 4 steps south of the Bath of Coal, or if you search 70 yalms south and 40 yalms east of the castle, you will find an item. They'll say that there's a hidden wall in this particular area.
Is this where yalms and moms came from?
So the strategy guide, basically my point is the strategy guide in the NES version was completely useless and unnecessary. You could learn everything in the game. You just needed to fucking explore.
But stupid kids wouldn't know that.
No.
Dumb.
An 8-year-old Orgo.
Find the strategy guide.
An 8-year-old Orgo followed that strategy guide to a T. When it told you to fight around the Rain Shrine, that little tiny staircase in the corner there, at level 4 until level 5, god damn it, you did it.
You did it! You did it! You did it! Yay, Boissimo! You did it!
Dragon Quest was bright on their hints. They were very much on their hints. And we have Coal, which is a hot springs town, and the location of the fairy flute. That is the town I just mentioned. 4 steps south of the town of Coal. The fun thing about Coal, it was also the first time that there was ever a Puff Puff in Dragon Quest. Puff Puff. And it's also the only time Puff Puff was actually done seriously. Every other instance after that, Puff Puff was done as a joke.
Is this a drug or something?
No, it's sexual fave. I mean, what anyway?
Shall I describe it?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Why not? I'll describe it. A puff puff is basically when a woman takes her breasts and shoves them into your face. and puffs your face with them.
Fucking hell! I feel like an idiot. They literally do that in Dragon Ball. I should have picked up on that. That's all the Master Roshi wants is puff.
Yes, from what I don't know much about Dragon Ball, but for some
it wouldn't surprise me if that was a direct reference to Dragon Quest.
Yeah, I would guess that, or just Puff. And Puff was something before Dragon Quest. It's just Dragon Quest kind of adapted it and make it its own.
I'm sure it was just some sexual thing that they had in Japan.
Yes.
So we're gonna put it in this. We're gonna put it in this comic for young boys.
Yeah, look, guys. Japan has you can pay money for anything in Japan. You want a mom? You can rent one if you want. So.
Damn, they didn't care for them. Wait, what the fuck? Yes, Puff. That is exactly what a Puff is. Now, in later games, they didn't actually...
Wait. So when you said that they do it seriously...
They let you put your character... Yeah.
I mean, the characters are 8-bit sprites and you don't see it. You just... The person says it, would you like a Puff?
I've worked with less.
Yes. Can you read Japanese? Because it was actually taken out of the American version. Unsurprisingly.
Unsurprisingly.
Of course, the censorship of Japanese culture begins really early.
I'm trying to remember what the woman says. She doesn't explicitly say anything sexual, but she does, like, imply something. I just don't remember exactly what it is. I didn't think this would be a topic of conversation when I was talking about this, so I didn't write it down.
You really should have expected that.
Yes, I probably should have. I could look... You know what? What the hell? Let's see here. I have it saved. I have it here. Let's see. I think it's in coal. It's either in coal or tentacle. I'm just checking here. No, I am not Princess Glaylin. Bear with me. This is very important things. We gotta find out what the Puff girl said in, America. I think that might be it. So it isn't anything sexual at all. It is this bath cures rheumatism?
Rheumatism?
Rheumatism.
I feel like that's a reference to something. Someone's just saying, like, rheumatism?
A disease marked by inflammation in the pain and joint muscles or fibrous tissue, especially rheumatoid arthritis.
Okay. So yeah, it's not sexual at all. You can turn it sexual. Absolutely. The very important things about breasts. Oh, damn Nintendo didn't believe in us Americans. Very important things about breasts. No, I think it's more they were marketing the games towards kids and, I don't know, parents walking in and having a woman give you sexual favors is probably not the thing they want to see. And then we have the swamp cave to the south, which we will come back to later. Moving on. Whoa. Remildar. There is nothing really of note, but it is where you can buy keys. I should point out in the game, it is pretty much an open world game. You can go from the starting point all the way to the hardest town in the game. The only place you cannot really access at the beginning of the game is the Dragon Lord's Isle. But you can get everywhere else, provided you can survive. Because monsters do get progressively tougher the further away from the castle you go.
Wow.
But there's one exception, and that is doors, which you need keys for. And you cannot open those doors until you get to this town to buy the keys. Once you have those,
unfortunately, it doesn't have the key to anybody's heart. Da, 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 da.
It's okay. I had Pafu. I don't need anyone else's heart.
But once you have the keys, you can open up the rest of the world. Anyway, and the south of that, Magic Shrine, where sun and rain doth meet, and the guy is a giant jerk.
Wow.
Remildar tells you that if you want
This
to be able to make it
on the composer.
if you if you want to make it to Dragon Lord's Isle, you need to find an item that at the Magic Cave where the sun and rain doth meet. But if you try to go there and talk to him, he tells you he will not give you a thing until you can prove your lineage, and then ejects you from the cave immediately. Like everybody else will tell you, no, go away, you need to prove yourself, and you can walk out. This guy, like, forcibly throws you out of the cave. He is an ass. On the southwestern part of the world, I didn't even freaking separate those, okay. We have Damdara and Cantlin. We'll talk about Damdara first, because we had mentioned that already, but it is a ruined town, and basically is filled with monsters. If you go to this place when you first enter that area, the monsters that are inside there will basically kill you in one hit. So it's kind of a beginner's trap. You're expected to go into the town around level 17. The area surrounding that is about level 11. So, and you pretty much need to get to Cantlin, which is expected around 14, 15, and get the items from there to be strong enough to go into that town.
Wow.
And Cantlin itself is protected by a giant golem. Basically, the townspeople themselves created that golem to fight the enemies or keep their town safe from the enemies in the surrounding area, which are insanely powerful. You learn about in that.
And you're going to fight it.
Well, yeah.
Kind of feels like you're screwing over the townspeople.
Yeah, kinda. Essentially, you go into the town, and they don't do it in the NES version, but in the remakes, they do kind of mention that their town is protected by a golem, and they don't say that you just destroyed it. They're just like, oh yeah, he's protecting the town, and I guess you as the player are just like, oh, whoops.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops.
But in this town, you learn two very important things. One, Magog's armor shop is located in that damaged town of Damdara. Excuse me. The damaged town of Damdara, and that he buried a very special piece of armor behind his weapon shop. Guess what you gotta get?
In the game?
Wow! You're some kind of sorcerer. How'd you figure that out?
Oh my god, I'm genius!
Yes, it is the most powerful armor in the game. Aptly named Erdrick's armor. Because of course it is. Everything, the best of everything in this game, with the exception of the shield, is called the Erdrick's. Erdrick's sword, Erdrick's shield, Erdrick's
kind of had a high opinion of himself.
Erdrick's sword, Erdrick's armor.
Erdrick. I barely knew him. Wait.
Well,
what?
The original names of the items obviously were Erdrick stuff, but over time they were adapted to that. You also learn of the location to find the proof of Erdrick, because as we all know, if you want to prove your lineage to somebody else, you find a random item on the ground, and that'll show everybody that you're related to that person. But this is where you mentioned.
If I wear my dead ancestors' clothes, they'll know that I am related to him.
This is where the location of 70 south, 40 east comes from, and essentially, if you go 70 steps south of the castle and 40 steps east, you will find Erdrick's token, which is basically, like I said, proves that you are, in fact, a descendant of Erdrick. Again, don't ask how finding something on the ground proves your lineage, but
where do you get the 70-40 from? Like, is it given to you in game?
Somebody tells you in the, what you do is you basically, there's a guy in Cantlin who's protected by a whole bunch of, like, destructive barriers, where if you try to pass him, you'll die. But if you go and get the armor from that town that I mentioned earlier, you can equip that armor and then walk through those barriers without a problem. He then tells you the location of Erdrick's token, which, unsurprisingly, is in that southern quadrant where the swamp is, which basically damages you every step. So the game is basically telling you, if you get this armor, you can now get the token because that swamp will no longer hurt you. So, again, you can put it all together if you read what all the NPC characters are saying.
Trade quest.
An adventure.
You're just a stupid 10-year-old who just wants to beat up monsters.
Yes,
I just want to defeat the evil king.
So you read the strategy guide to figure out where all this stuff is. And now we have the center of the map, which is basically Tentacle and Dragonlord's castle. I should note that town that's next to Tentacle there, that is actually Breckenary in the NES version, but in subsequent remakes, those are basically combined into one town, and it's all tentacles, so I just ignored the whole Breckenary thing.
Oops, all tentacles.
Tentacle is where the Stones of Sunlight are, and if you recall what I mentioned about the sun and rain doth meet, we know about the Staff of Rain, we know about the Stones of Sunlight, and that guy wants to know your lineage. So if you bring the Staff of Rain and you bring the Stones of Sunlight and you bring your proof of lineage, he will give you an item that will allow you to get onto that island there. Which is basically the gist of the game right there. Essentially, that's your goal. And the Dragonlord's Isle, where the Dragonlord lives. And the Rainbow Drop, which is the item I just mentioned, is needed to access the Isle. You can just move on from that. And Shatters. And now that we have the keys in hand from Remulidar, we can talk about the game of Dragon Quest, which is pretty much what we've been talking, so I don't know why I'm calling this the game of Dragon Quest. But don't worry about that little black square up there. We'll move on from that. Stones of Sunlight are in there. That is Tentacle, by the way. I probably should mention what these maps are. Throne Room on the top, Stones of Sunlight, Drang, blah, blah, blah. And this is the Swamp Cave that I mentioned earlier that we would talk about. In the Swamp Cave is Princess Gwaelin. That is where she's captured, and you need to find her.
Princess Gwaelin.
From the map, it looks like it's easy to find her, but you have to keep in mind that in the original Dragon Quest, the way dungeons worked, is that it was shrouded in darkness, and you needed torches, and torches would give you a 3x3 square in which you can see stuff. So there's also a spell called Radiant, which would give you a 9x9 square, but it gradually decreases over time. So I think it's 9x9. No, it's not 9x9. It's 5x5. So you're not able to actually find Gwaelin that easily. If you throw up the torch, then you start exploring. But you also can't you also can't get to Gwaelin right away because there's a giant dragon, a green dragon, that's protecting her. And when you first enter this cave, you're going to be at like level 7 or 8. Dragon can't realistically be defeated until at least level 9. But that's like if you know how to play the game and you know, but first time playing the game, you probably want to be around level 13 to actually fight the dragon. But once you do rescue the princess, though, you bring her back to the castle. Let's see what the next frame is, because I don't have that. Yeah, okay. You bring her back to the castle. She gives you Gwaelin's love and asks you to profess your love to her. If you say no...
God. You're married now. What a twist.
You can say no, but Gwaelin being the... what's the term? I'm not good with Japanese terminology. Yandere?
She's like Chi-Chi from Dragon Ball. She won't take no for an answer.
She won't take no for an answer, and she'll be insanely obsessed with you after you rescued her.
Congratulations, you're married! Are we
sure Toriyama didn't also do some writing for this?
He may have had a hand.
You know, all of these things are sounding incredibly familiar.
They might. They a little familiar. Anyways, next we visit Galen's grave, which probably around level 11 is where you want to be for this. Although the last floor is at level 11.
Oh no, it's Galen. I can't believe you're dead.
The last floors at level 11, though, are a little dicey. So, but anyways, this is inside Galen's cave. Galen died in Demdara, which I mentioned earlier, but his body was brought over to, or his harp and body were brought over to this area, buried in the grave, and they built a town over it, calling it Galenholm.
Oh.
Get the point there? Galenholm. Ha.
Ha ha ha.
That is literally how they just named towns in like ancient.
I know. Not more of a pun, more like, yeah, that's more accurate to historically accurate with how they used to name things.
King Arthur may have been buried here. Really? Oh, maybe.
Droll,
you might
Droll by the way, is another one of my favorite designs. I don't know why I love that so much. Droll and Droll Magi. The little eyes, so cute. So cute and horrifying at the same time. They've only ever used those twice in the series. Well, in the main line, they've been in the Monsters games, but they've only used them in Dragon Quest 1 and Dragon Quest 11. So that is a giant gap to never see those cute little... They're actually snails, believe it or not. Don't ask how that's a snail. I think because you're looking at... I told you not to ask!
Yeah.
I think it's because using reverse psychology on me.
I think it's because you're looking at them from the front, so you're not really telling what's behind them is actually a shell. But, yeah. Moving on along. And once you have the lyre and iron in hand, you can go get the Staff of Rain at the Staff of Rain cave. There it is. Look at it. Great. Yeah, moving on. And that is Demdara right there. This is a city that was ravished by Dragon Lord's minions, and homes to Galen and Magog. Magog was buried Erdrick's armor there, which we've already expressed, because Cherri likes to spoil things.
What did I spoil?
You didn't spoil anything, I'm teasing you.
I don't spoil. I'm very good at not spoiling things. Thank you very much.
You also... you probably didn't notice, but I will say that on the NES version, the town was called Hawksness, which is what's up in the top there. I actually liked Hawksness a lot better than Demdara, but was called Demdara in Japan, and it kind of... And that's pretty much what it's been called since, so... and Erdrick's armor is, of course, guarded by an Axe Knight. I like to think that the Axe Knight is actually the armor itself, possessed by a ghost. But that's actually not the case. I don't exactly know. I think it's just a random mob. But I like to think that it's a possessed by a ghost. And once you defeat the armor itself, you get to wield it and wear it and kick ass in it. And we've discussed that already. The location of Erdrick's token is in the middle of that swamp right there. And with Erdrick's token, the staff, and the stones, you head to the magic shrine. And I hit the wrong thing. There we go. And the jerk makes the rainbow drop for you so you can get to Dragon Lord's Isle. Woohoo! And thus we get one of the most convoluted maps in the entire game. Oh, yeah, there you go.
That was fun.
Cross the Rainbow Bridge, enter the Dragon Lord's Castle for the final confrontation. I think I actually zoomed in on the map here. Yeah, I did. Look at that beast! Now keep in mind, 90% of this is only seen by a 3x3 square. So you try to figure that out. and the other things is... Two of the stairways going down on the main floor just lead to loops. And basically you just go around all over the... Like, you'll think you're making progress and you aren't making any progress whatsoever. What you have to do, and this is actually a very well-known thing within RPGs, which obviously probably not that well know because you guys probably aren't aware of it, um, there is a hidden stairwell behind the throne of the Dragon Lord. Goodness gracious. And I don't think there's any hints in the game to tell you that the throne is there or the stairwell is there, other than if you go onto the throne itself and do a search, it'll tell you that there's a gust of wind coming out from behind the throne. And that's pretty much it.
I just want to sit on the throne, man. I'm the Dragon Lord now.
I think Cherri's tired.
She's just gonna like a dog. She's just gonna curl up in the seat.
No, I'm not doing that right now.
Woo! I love that transition. Anyways, so the final confrontation to save the world, and Dragon Lord gives you a choice. What sayest thou? Will the great warrior stand with me? And you can actually say yes.
Sure, why not?
Really? And then you say yes again, and you will join the Dragon Lord. The game will end without a final confrontation.
He just wanted a friend all along.
And this is actually the basis of the Dragon Quest Builders series. Because you're trying to rebuild the world after the descendant of Erdrick, under the stress of being expected to go on this quest and all of that, says basically, fuck everybody who's been pushing me to do this, I'm going to join this guy and we're going to freaking conquer everything. So...
It's canonical ending for a different timeline.
For a different timeline, for a game that is not canonical. But this is what happens, though. Then half of this world will be thine, half of the darkness, and if thou dies, I can bring thee back for another attempt without the loss of the deeds to date. Thy journey is over. Take now the long, long rest. And the screen goes pitch black, the text turns red, and it freezes.
Yeah.
That shit, it was creepypasta before creepypasta. It's like, what the fuck happened to my game? It glitched out. No, it didn't. You just basically said you didn't want to fight the final boss. But if you do fight him, the Dragon Lord is not amused. Look at how indifferent he is. And he transforms into a dragon.
Oh my god, he turned into a dragon!
Yes,
I've never seen that coming.
I'll give the game this. It's not false advertising.
No, it isn't. And back in the day, this blew everybody's mind. Because when you got to the end of the game, you'd fight the final boss and it'd be over. In this game, this is the first instance of the game I could find where the final boss had two forms.
Yeah.
Multiple stages.
Oh my god!
So when people
this
defeated
really was the first Dark Souls game.
They watched Sleeping Beauty and they got, hey, wouldn't it be cool if our guy turned into a dragon?
I mean, I didn't say it's the first medium that did this. I just said it was the first video game. So when you fought the Dragon Lord, you're like, oh, that was easy. And holy shit! The regular Dragon Lord hits you for probably about 30 hit points at a time when you're supposed to be fighting him. You're supposed to have like maybe 120, 130. This thing hits you for about 50. 50 with its regular attack. If you don't have Erdrick, if you somehow made it here without Erdrick's armor, it'll hit you about 80 with its breath attack, but 40 if you have the armor. So it was no joke. It probably took about 10 hit points worth of damage for every hit you hit. It was no joke. It only had like 200 hit points because the limitations on the NES. I think 255 was the max anything could have.
Is this even like a half-hour-long battle to win
it? It was long. I wouldn't say it was a half hour, but he didn't heal. So as long as you kept attacking and healing yourself, it was over a couple in 5 minutes or so.
So
no,
what
half
you're
hour.
Saying is, so what you're saying is that this game didn't invent using the max revive like Pokemon.
You have nobody to revive you by yourself.
I mean, not revive, the max potions that the Elite Four always like to use when you're battling, and you're like, that's not fair.
No,
That's what I do.
Dra- Dragon Dragon Lord's second form and Dragon Lord's first form on the NES do not have any kind of healing. On the remakes, they made his first form considerably more difficult, and he has healing spells in that one. So I think his arsenal is heal more, hurt more, and stop spell in later games. It's only hurt more and stop spell in the original.
Mm.
So yeah, you defeat the Dragon Lord. You obtain the Ball of Light. Radiance streams forth as thy hands touch the object and hold it aloft. Across the land spreads the brilliance until all shadows are banished and peace is restored. I never read that. I think if all shadows disappeared, that'd actually probably be a pretty bad thing. Because that would mean the sun is gone. Because the sun casts a shadow. And you go back to the castle where everybody's already heard about your
where your wife is waiting for you.
Not in this ending.
The
what I have there is the ending, basically, if you don't rescue the princess. Which you can do. You can beat the game without rescuing the princess. The only issue with that is the princess gives you the item called Gwaelin's Love, which I really didn't get into earlier. But what that item is basically a compass. If you use it, it'll tell you how much experience points you need to the next level, and then tell you how far away from the castle you are. Whether you are, say, 70 steps south and 40 steps east. So essentially, you need that compass in order to find Erdrick's token. Unless you already know where Erdrick's token is, and then you can just go and grab it. Or you're really, really determined. Because there's nowhere else other than 7040 in the game that tells you where it is. Anyways, the legends have proven true. Thou art indeed the line of Erdrick. It is thy right to rule over thy land without take my place. I clearly grabbed this from somebody else's stream, so the person's named themselves Iju. Thought carefully before answering. I cannot, said Iju. And I want to point out, this is the only time in any Dragon Quest game where the main hero speaks. Every single other Dragon Quest game, the hero is a mute from the beginning to end. This is the only time the main hero speaks. If ever I am to rule a country, it must be a land that I myself find. But then, if you rescue the princess, she comes out. Gwaelin said, please wait. I wish to go with thee on thy journey. May I travel with thy companion? You have a choice. Yes or no?
Quick, run away from the trap of marriage.
We'll say no. But thou must.
Thou must.
But thou must. No matter how much you say no, she insists that you marry. So you marry. Go away, bird. I'm so happy. Yes, because you gave him the choice, I'm sure.
Choice is an illusion.
And thus the tale comes to an end, unless the dragons return again. And she taken
equal bait.
And now I'm married. What the fuck?
And now I'm married and I have to deal with this okay.
Everyone in the kingdom got a happy ending except for me.
Well, at least she's a redhead.
So
points in her favor.
That is the first Dragon Quest game. I am stunned when I originally tried to do this project that I thought I'd be able to get all the first 3 out of the way, and then this happened.
On my current Star Wars project, I'm working on a novel trilogy. It quickly became clear that I am only going to be able to cover these one at a time.
Yes, that's pretty much what happened with this. And And even the later Dragon, if I ever get into the later ones,
Don't
they're
say
going
if,
to.
say when.
When you get to the later ones.
I want to do 7, but the issue with 7 is the game itself, minimum, will take you 100 hours to beat the first time playing it.
Wow.
It's also anthology style. There is a branching story, like a surrounding story around everything, but it's told anthology style, basically 26 individual stories all branching into one.
Oh.
So it's
that
gotta be,
one.
yeah, it's gonna be one of those things where if I ever do try to cover 7, it's more than likely gonna be multiple
Wait, is
parts.
that the one with the twins? The dancer twins? Is that one?
That was 4.
No, I don't know which one this one was.
Dragon Quest 7. Dragon Quest 7 was the one where my original namesake came from.
Oh,
Orgonimer.
okay.
Or Orgodemir.
I don't think I played 7 then.
You did not. Not many people did. 7 is very... 7 is probably my favorite of the series, but it's probably my least recommended.
Because all of the Dragon Quests that I have were just like the remakes and stuff for the DS. Like after the what 8, right? After I got 8, I got the ones for the DS because I just liked having handheld games.
4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, I also have the one that's not the remake, the Angel one.
That is
The
9.
one where I'm an angel. And I'm hanging out with Pan. What do you mean she's not Pan? She looks exactly like her. She's got the head kerchief and everything.
Oh,
No.
Dragon Quest 9 was a character creator. Wait, no, you were hanging out with... Never mind.
I said I was hanging out with
Yes,
her.
I know who you're talking about now.
Yeah.
Yes. That annoying little thing.
That I have to collect all of the things and get my divinity back, only to get rid of my divinity to be able to defeat the final boss and live as a human.
That is actually something I thought about doing, was ranking all the Dragon Quest villains.
Mm-hmm.
And when I say all the villains, I don't mean the main villains. I mean every single goddamn villain in every single game.
Wow.
Or every single mainline
crazy.
game. Yeah. What psychopath would try to do a top 126?
You know, you
Certainly not this psychopath. Imagine that PowerPoint.
Do a tier ranking list like we were doing with Pokemon. Do that instead. We'd probably actually get through it better than the Pokemon.
I could do all the characters.
Yeah.
Although you guys don't know anything about the characters, so that would be like I'd have to do that on my own.
Mm-hmm.
I can chime in on the thing, and I can say I hate their character design, put them lower.
Fair enough.
It's based solely on how attractive they are.
There are several that are like directly, not surprisingly, directly inspired by Dragon Ball characters.
Who would have guessed?
There's Dragon Quest 8 actually has Marcello and Angelo, who even Toriyama basically says, yeah, they're basically Vegeta and Trunks. With the exception of Marcello's hair, which is slicked back and not straight up, he's Vegeta. And Angelo is Trunks. Like, there's no... Actually, let me get a...
I thought several characters were Trunks in Dragon Quest.
Several characters probably are.
Yeah, like the main character from the most recent one. He's Trunks, just with brown hair.
Looks like Vegeta. Actually, I'm looking at the wrong thing.
What are you looking at?
I am looking at... I'm pretty sure it's the main character from 1. It's just, he's got the classic Vegeta smirk.
Well, that's the one I had on the PowerPoint. Let me go back here.
Yep.
There's actually an easier way to do this. I don't know why I'm trying to do it.
Which game did you say that the Vegeta lookalike was from?
8. Oh, Vegeta. Yeah, 8. Marcello.
Marcello. Marcello, why do you take the pasta?
I'm offended. The character I have up now is the main character of Dragon Quest 1.
So he inspired Vegeta, is what you're saying.
Marcello. I don't know if he inspired Vegeta.
I'm sure Dragon Ball came out afterwards.
Did Z though?
Yeah.
When did Z come out?
Came out. Well, Dragon
88.
Yeah, this came out first.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you're saying this guy inspired Vegeta.
Although I mean, I guess more like Sharpener than he does Vegeta.
You also can't tell because the helmet, what his hair looks like.
Maybe I'm looking at the wrong guy. I'm looking at a guy with long black hair.
Yeah. Yeah, Marcello, he's got a Holy Templar-like suit on.
He looks like Android 13.
I would have to take a look at that. Yeah, I can see it, only with silver hair.
Of course, it's Akira Toriyama. All of his.
I was gonna say it.
It's like some people can only draw characters. Some people struggle to draw different female characters. Akira Toriyama struggles to draw every character.
It's like how
that is the reason why rarely has glasses, because he wanted to differentiate him from the other female characters in Dr. Slump.
Probably. Meanwhile, there's Takuchi. He's all like, "What? Girls need to look different from each other?"
I made the mistake of typing in Angelo Dragon Quest 8 in Google.
Oh no.
Yeah, there's some.
You didn't have safe search on, did you?
No, I don't have safe search on. And
I did see him. Yes, he definitely looks like Trunks.
He is getting very friendly with the main character of Dragon Quest 8, so I'm going to get away from that.
We always must have the yaoi bait in every version.
Oh, believe me, Dragon Quest is not opposed to its yaoi based.
Let's go!
I'm pretty sure that's why Sylvando was made.
But he's the best character.
Yes, Sylvando is fantastic.
Yeah, he's the best character. I love him.
That is why I kind of do want to do a ranking system of the Dragon Quest characters, because just so I can
He looks stupid, but I love him.
Oh, he looks fantastic. What are you talking about? He's wearing a jester's outfit.
Yeah, it's stupid.
He's wearing a jester's outfit and is a Holy Templar Knight. You don't get better than that.
Stupid.
And one of his in Dragon Quest, I want to get this out real quick, and then I'll let Cherri go to sleep because she's clearly out of it. In Dragon Quest 8, Dragon Quest 11, they had skill trees, like you can put a character down, like knives, whips, swords.
I hated it so much.
And every character had their own
skills.
Every character had their own like specific branch, like Jade, like the buxom character had sex appeal.
It was so painful. They should have just given me the shit and when I leveled up instead of just making me do all that because I didn't know how to build the fucking characters. I hated it here.
But for Sylvando, I don't quite remember what it was in America. Lethius or something like that. But in Japan, his skill tree was called Okama.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what that word means. I've watched One Piece.
Oh. Oh.
And go watch some clips of Savando from Dragon Quest XI, and I'll let you make your own opinions. Anyway, I'm actually starting to get to that point now, so I think
I need to get dinner.
this is where I'm going to call it. Oh, nope.
Nope.
That is not what I meant to do at all. I went to go end my stream on Discord, and I didn't realize it.
Oh dang, he really ended it.
And I didn't realize that if I closed out of the program, it completely disconnects me from the stream on Discord. So when I go close off the stream in Discord, I just disconnected from the chat instead.
My God.
I'm smart.
I'm dumb.
I'm apathetic.
But this is where I'm gonna call it. This was a blast. I can't wait to do part 2. It may be a while though.
Yeah.
Part 2 is. I don't need to go into the history, at least, of how the series was created, but I can go into the history of 2 a bit, because that's got a sword one. And then we can go into the story of 2, which is actually a bit more in depth than the story of 1. So.
Whoa.
But anyways.
Yeah.
Till next time, people. Maybe I'll be on tomorrow with Zelda now that I'm no longer sick. I can get back into the games. Until then, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.